All right, great morning, superstars. Welcome to another amazing episode of Social Media Saturdays. And are you struggling with online sales? So that's the question that we have on the floor today. Actually, I have two questions. So, are you struggling with online sales, or are you on social media and you're not seeing the engagement? And ultimately, you're not getting the return on investment on your effort, your time, and your money. So if you have answered yes to any of those questions above, then this conversation is for you. Now, here's what I've noticed. I've noticed that the world has gone virtual and there is no turning back. And today we are sharing how you can build your KLT, which you probably know by now is your know, like, and trust factor, build credibility, and separate from your competition. So welcome to Social Media Saturdays. I am your host, Taria Hodge, and this is a place where you come to learn how to serve, share, and shine. And each Saturday, what I do is share real strategies designed to fuel your business, capture your authentic message, and position you as an influencer in the marketplace. Now, as you can see, I have a special guest sitting down right here next to me. And today we're going to discuss why story is the secret sauce to your social media. So before we get things rolling, I want to know who's out there this morning. Okay. So if you're out there, you're tuning into Social Media Saturdays, you know how we do. Just go ahead and drop me a comment in the comment section. Let us know where you are watching from. So if you are watching from the US, let me know what city and state you are hailing from this morning. If you are watching from, any of my Caribbean islands, I'm here stateside well, actually, no, I'm not stateside. Let me just put it this way. I'm in Canada. I almost forgot. So I am in Canada. So if you are watching internationally, just go ahead and just let us know where you are watching from. And if you are hailing from any of our island nations in the Caribbean, just go ahead and drop a comment and let us know where you are watching from. Now, after you let us know where you are tuning in from, the second thing that I want you to do is go ahead and let us know who you serve in the comment. That's right. Who do you serve in the comment? So put who you serve in the comment, how you serve, and how we can connect with you. So now this is one of the things that I absolutely love to do on each of our episodes, because I like to know who my superstars are. I like to know who they be in the world and who they show up to serve. And we won't know who you serve and how we can connect with you unless you tell us. Okay, so go ahead, drop who you serve, how you serve, and how we could connect with you in the comment section. So let's go ahead and check and see Suzanne, who we have out there. So we have Sharette out there this morning. Great morning, Sharette. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. And then we have Barbara. Barbara is out there this morning. Great morning to you, Barbara. Thank you for tuning in. And so ladies, don't forget, go ahead, drop in the comment section who you serve in your business, how you serve, and how we could connect with you. So that's either the link to your Facebook business page, or it could be the link to your website if you don't have a Facebook business page. And so we have someone out there from St. Louis, Missouri, and they're saying, I serve professionals to overcome emotional eating by focusing on the mindset and essential life skills. So I'm going to say, even though her name did not show up, I know that's the amazing Peggy Dunn. So great morning, Peggy. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. And I see Barbara is saying Texas is in the house. Great morning, Barbara. So I serve schools and transform these schools into hallelujah success stories. And so if you are out there and you are a principal, Barbara has a wonderful platform called principles on the come up. So Barbara, make sure that you go ahead and drop your information into the comment section so our superstars can go ahead and connect with you. So without any further ado, I almost forget one last thing. I do it all the time. I get so excited, to have these conversations, and I have a tendency to kind of run ahead of myself. Okay. But this is the last thing that I'm going to ask my superstars to do before we get started, because this is going to be an amazing conversation. So take a minute to hit that share button below the video and go ahead and share this broadcast out with your business besties, your business colleagues, your friends, because if you know someone who is on social media and they're struggling, to see the return of investment that they would like, we're going to share some things this morning that will, definitely create a shift for them in their business. Okay. So just go ahead, either, hit the button, share it out, or you could tag at least 5 people that that needs to be in this conversation. So with that being said, oh my gosh, I have the pleasure to sit down in person with none other than the Mindset Mastery mentor, Suzanne Hart. And so you guys have probably heard me talk about it, for the past few weeks, past month that I'm coming to Canada. I'm making my way to Canada, and I am finally in Canada.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, it has been such an amazing trip. I even extended my trip, y'all. I was supposed to be back.
You're supposed to be leaving tomorrow.
I was supposed to be leaving tomorrow, but I extended my trip for another week, actually. So Canada is absolutely beautiful. I have the opportunity, like I said, to sit down with Suzanne and even have the opportunity to meet some of the new friends that I've made online. Yeah. So it's always, a wonderful, thing where you meet people online, you build relationships. And this is kind of like what we're going to be talking about today, right? Like, how do you actually make this social media thing work? And then you have the opportunity to meet, people in person that has been journeying with you. It's such an amazing thing. So I'm super excited, just to be here.
Oh, I'm excited that you're here. It has been a beautiful week and a bit, and we are bopping all over the place and seeing the beautiful Thousand Islands, and Tria's like in awe, so it's been fun. And we're actually sitting down in the home of our friends, Ken and Yetta Decker. And we've been here filming with them for a few days. So thank you, Ken and Yetta.
Yes.
And it's been a joy. It's been a joy. So we are going sightseeing in Ottawa today.
Oh, yes.
Tria's going to get to see the capital. So that's how we do.
Oh, yeah, that's how we do. So, I'm super excited, but, we couldn't leave our superstars out, and we'd be remiss if we didn't, sit down and have this conversation. And so today we're talking about why story is the secret sauce to your social media. So I'm going to start off briefly by sharing, a little bit about my story and social media. So, social media for me, has been the thing that definitely shifted my business. When I first started out as an entrepreneur, it was one of the things that I learned to leverage very quickly. And I came into the space about 10 years ago, where it was the online boom, where everyone, if you had an info product, you could put your info product up there. You remember the days of the ebooks and the $7 info products? And you could totally make a killing, right? Back in the day, with that strategy. And the reason why is because one of the things I noticed, because of the sheer number of people who were on social media and had access to social platforms, you didn't really have to do a lot of heavy lifting to make social media work for you.
Because there wasn't many people doing.
Yeah. So even though there was a lot of people on social media, not a lot of people was really in the online space, right?
Got
So
it.
it was really crazy because when I started off, I found myself, like trying to convince people why they needed to be on social media. So it was this thing like, I got a lot of pushback,
Yeah.
like, oh, social media, I don't need to do that. That's going to be a passing phase. That's something that's going to go away like very quickly. And I was just like, no, go away quickly. I saw the potential of the thing. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is going to be the thing, right? That I'm going to sink my teeth into and I'm going to master. Like fast forward 10 years, social platforms is like, oh my gosh, everything.
Yeah.
Like if your business doesn't have like a social component, so it's not even just being on, on a social media platform, is having social components to your business. So when you even take a look at your business, how can you intertwine social media in all of those different aspects? And so, but there was a shift. That's what I wanted to get to. At first, it was very easy, and it was very easy to promote. It didn't take much, for you to put your product or your service or your promotions out there. And because of the sheer number of people who were on the platform, people connected with you, or they connected with your product and service. Now, fast forward 10 years later, not so much. And why not so much is because more and more business owners, more and more entrepreneurs, are on social media, and social media has become very crowded, and it's very, what I call, noisy in the marketplace. And so the question became for me, like, what are some of the things that I had to learn how to do to shift, right? To continue to be successful, on social media. So that was also part of my journey, moving out of the space, of just doing the promotions, right? And then utilizing and sharing story, okay? And so any experience for you, Suzanne, that you've noticed on social media?
Well, I was the person you would have been convincing that I needed to be on social media. And I think my experience of social media with people sharing information that I didn't think was relevant. Like I didn't know why I would share what I had for breakfast. I didn't know why I would put the oddest photos on social media that really were my private life. And so when I would look, I would see the stuff and it didn't make sense. The other thing that happened for me was that I came up in the $7, free, book, or the tool that you sold your lead magnet.
Yes.
And that didn't work for me either, partly because I had come from network marketing. And if you do network marketing the way it's designed, it's a relationship sale.
Yes.
And so a relationship sale is very much a know, like, and trust journey.
Yes.
And so when I got on social media and people were just promoting these things, it felt very odd to me because, one, I wasn't going to put so much of my business out there. I'm not going to tell you what I had for breakfast, right? And two, I didn't feel comfortable just dropping stuff, product, buy this, buy that, on to people I didn't have a relatedness with. So it was a very uncomfortable process for me. And so my solution was to get off.
So that's interesting, right? And that's one of the things that I talk about all the time. So one of the things my superstars hear me talk about is hiding, on the social media, and there are different ways that people could hide, right? So I know for me, the hiding part was hiding behind of the marketing promotions, okay, and just having the promotions out there, but like, what's the story? How do you, like you said, how do you build that relatedness? How do you build, that know, like, and trust factor? Okay. And then we see what you just expressed is that sometimes people get so confused with what to do on social media. So they don't know what to post. They don't know where to post. They don't know how, to share it. And so the step is to stay off of social media.
The thing was, I had clear steps.
Mhm.
I wasn't confused in terms of the steps that
Okay.
people were telling me. I didn't like the steps.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I am not doing this.
Oh,
This
okay.
is not me. I am not doing this. So the steps were very clear, but they didn't feel good. So I didn't want to do them. And the people that I saw doing them,
Yeah.
they also weren't having the success that would make me risk
Doing
this
it.
thing that I didn't believe in.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the shift. And one of the things with the shift is why promoting your products and your services is not good enough or is not enough.
Yeah. Well, I think what you actually got me back on social media. So when I met Taria, she talked to me about doing a weekly show. So now it's Unstoppable Mindset. And I was like, our week?
Yes, our week.
and so that was the beginning of a journey. At the same time, I was also teaching speaking. And I remember the first time I taught it live, and the engagement was palpable. Like the engagement, it was instant. It was, and there was something in that moment, Taria, that had me have this aha moment that what I was teaching people to do live in a room to engage people they didn't know and create connections. Why wouldn't that work online? Why wasn't it the same process of learning to tell great stories online and create the same connection? So part of what it began was, well, let me try it since Taria has me on social media anyway. Let me try doing what I do offline, online, like not change a lot.
Yeah.
And what began to happen, to my surprise, was that I got this level of engagement that was very similar to the room. I also realized that when I started using the same stuff for writing, and then when we started working on it, I noticed that it became easy and fun. Hear that? Fun. I said it. Easy and a lot more fun to actually do social media. And then I remember, when the pandemic came and we were on Zoom a lot, I just ran my Zoom room like I ran my live rooms when I did live events. And it was almost like it was fireworks in the Zoom room. And people were like, I can't believe this time went so fast. They didn't want to get off. And I was like, that's it.
Right?
It's the power of story. It's the power of natural engagement. It's the power of asking questions. And it's the power of being vulnerable enough so people get to know you, so that they choose you, then they check out your product.
Yeah. So I to just kind of like really go into what you're talking about. What you're talking about is, how do you build that experience,
right?
On social media, because that's really the question, right? So there are a lot of people out there who are mindset coaches. Right? A lot of people out there who, do social media. So the question becomes, like, when we enter into this space, what's the experience that we're going to create for our audience that makes our audience choose in, to us? And that's one of the things that, even for myself, I had to learn that. Right?
I think all of us had to learn it in this day and age, because as social media got more crowded, and as social media got to be the playground for everybody, you had to separate yourself from the crowd, if you will. You had to stand out from the crowd. And I think everybody started kind of going, okay, how do I do this? Because it was noisy and crowded.
And one of the things that, I share this all the time, one of the beautiful things in working with you is to actually see you embrace, the process. right? And take it on fully. So let me just share, like Suzanne is like truly a superstar, right? Because, I said, hey, this is, the way how we're going to do this, right? And she has fully, totally embraced the process. And one of the beautiful things to watch or to even hear is when Suzanne calls me on the phone, Taria, oh my gosh, guess who reached out to me? Or Taria, oh my gosh, this happened today.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that it's a direct, the direct correlation into what's happening on her social media and the way she chose to show up on social media. And so it's one of the things that I say all the time, like, you work it. If you work it, it will work for you, but it's creating that experience and to be mindful that people are looking looking for an experience. So I'm going to say that that's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're still out there and you're thinking that the overload of information is what's going to get it, that's not going to be the thing, to bring your divine clients to you. It's the experience. People want to know before they invest, not just money to work with a coach or work with a consultant or work with a company. It's not just about the money. They want to know the experience that they're going to have. What is the journey going to be like when you're working with that people? And so how can we give our audience a glimpse of that experience before, they have the monetary transaction?
Absolutely.
With us?
And I think just to unpack the experience has a number of factors that are included in it. And I think the first one is, do I like you? And I know that sounds really interesting, but it's do I feel like I know you enough that I can say I like you? And I know for myself, when I started working on storytelling, first on live stages, and then in my own events, and then on social media, what it allows for is for someone to actually get a glimpse behind the curtain. And I don't know about anyone else, but if you have ever worked with someone who shows up one way and then you hire them and you spend a bit of time with them and you notice they show up totally different, totally different. And oftentimes it's disappointing, disheartening, the service isn't what you thought, all those different things. When we start to work with this concept called storytelling is really about how you earn the right to be someone's mentor and to ask for their sale, their trust, their money, for them to invest. And so for me, when we teach story, it is really around giving someone a glimpse behind the curtain and taking them on a journey with you so they understand how you earned the right to sit in the seat called coach. How did you earn the right to sit in the seat called teacher, mentor, guide, expert, all those different things? Because that journey is actually where the connection is. And when I teach story, what I say to people is that every place you get stuck, and I know we have some of our students on right now, some of our clients on, and I've been I've had a month of helping people get unstuck as they're building out their programs. And what I've said to each and every one of them, every time you get stuck in your process, emotionally stuck in terms or in your head, fear, anxiety, all those things, I want you to think of it as content, because your journey is your client's journey. And getting unstuck is the content that you're about to teach them, or it's the content that's going to create awareness, or it's the content that's going to create connection. I understand what you're talking about. It's going to be the content that tells your client, I can move you from this place. So when they're crafting their story, it's about talking candidly about these experiences, because you and I don't connect in our celebrations, really. We connect in our pain, we connect in our disappointment, we connect in our frustration, we connect in the things that worry us, we connect in the things that have us feel alone, because when you're in those places, you're looking for the lifeline called you get me. And for someone to throw you I have an understanding of where you're sitting. I get you, lifeline. Let me help you in. And that person, you'll probably have a higher level of trust because you're like, you've been in my shoes.
And it's really interesting because that's the thing that I also had to. I saw your comment, Sharette, so I'm coming to it. So that's the thing that I also had to get present to, and starting to do this work with you for myself was absolutely amazing, right? Because I didn't realize that I had a story, a more powerful story that is actually the thing that's fueling my business now. So even though I was on social media before and I understood all the technical stuff, so I always say it, right? If there's a gadget out there, I know it. It's in my tool belt. So that wasn't the thing for me. But when we started to even take a look at my journey through Shine, I was that person who was deathly afraid of the camera.
Yeah.
Right. And
as you're telling all your clients, get in front of the camera.
And that was the thing. Like, what do you mean? Just turn it on. Let's go. I'm right here. I support you. And they're like, some were saying, you don't understand. And what was really crazy is that there were others who couldn't really express
their emotion,
what they were feeling, their emotions. And so, I tell people all the time, when I started the show, I didn't start the show because I wanted to have a show. I started the show because I wanted to know what was the missing, right? I wanted to find out like something is missing here. What is it? So how can I go ahead and find out what the missing is? And what I uncovered was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of stuff outside of the technological aspect of it. So I could teach platforms, right? And, platforms and technology for me, it's like, memory. So if you do it a few times, then your muscle memory is going to kick in and then you're going to do it. But what are the emotions that started to come up for me, right? To get in front of the camera, to be on in front of the camera, then I had to get present, to some of the things that I had to learn how to do, to set myself up for success. Now, those are the same things, that I go ahead and I teach my clients.
Well, what you're speaking to is that we all have our skills, we all have our talents, we all have our treasures, but what we don't really speak to is we all bring our humanity everywhere. And my humanity is the part of me that has all these emotions: fear, anxiety, I don't trust, I don't like breakdowns, I want to look good, I don't like uncertainty, I don't like to be uncomfortable. And all these are the part and parcel of what an entrepreneurial journey looks like. We all come with our pride and our desire to show up wonderful in the marketplace. So the disconnect is, I don't want to tell you that I'm afraid, but I'm deathly afraid. I don't want to tell you I'm uncomfortable because I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur who looks good and shows up a certain way, but I'm deathly afraid. I don't want to tell you I don't know how to do this because I got to put my best face forward. And so there's this disconnect between where we are and where we desire to be. And that's the psychology right there. And so if we're not attending to the humanity of the process, we are missing the boat. We're missing the place where connection happens, because what I really want to know is, you got me. And that's the human part of me that's fragile. And I want to know that you're not just going to teach me how to do the widgets, is that when I let my guard down, because I know I need to in order to get to move this place, will you be okay with me? Or will you laugh at me, ridicule me, and activate every fear that makes it hard for me to put my guard down in the first place? And so when we market and we are on social media, what we're really doing is we're attending to that human part of everyone that is so grounded in fear, uncertainty, and a lot of pain. And when we attend to that through our own stories, through our own telling an account of the journey, we put our people at ease, because then they say, and I know because we just did a training and I watched a whole room of people go, oh my gosh, I don't feel alone. Oh my goodness, that was happening to me. I thought it was just me. And what they really wanted was for someone to say, no,
you're not alone.
You're not alone. And this is okay. And I can walk you through it.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for. Then they'll say, can you do what I need you to do? What's your product? What's your product?
But that's what it's about, right? So it's not having that forceful, that push, right? So we want to be able, to show up in such a way where we're attracting our divine clients. And that was one of the things, like I said, has been a major shift for me, because at first I was taught that we have to go out there and we have to find our people or find people. And it's not about finding the people, it's about showing up in such of a way that you are attracting your divine clients. And and I love what you said. I love how you put it. People want to say, you want to be able to say, I get you and I got you.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And it's safe here.
Yeah.
It's safe here. One of the things that's often talked about is this whole concept of handling objections. And that was another thing when I started my sales journey that I was like, okay, that's just weird. And I realized that when people thought of handling objections, they often got aggressive. They often got a little defensive.
Yes.
Or they got insulting to the client who's got a question. And it was more when I started looking at story and unpacking story that I started telling people, I don't handle objections at all. Because when you ask me a question, what I'm listening for is what is a part of you that is afraid? What is a part of you that is uncertain? What is a part of you that has anxiety? And my job is not to handle you in that moment. My job is to put you at ease.
Oh, yes.
So that you can say, okay, right? My job might be to say, this is not your time. It is more so because at the end of the day, I'm not looking to make a sale. And I know this may sound weird. I'm looking to connect with a tribe member, a person who is going to lock arms with me. Because when I do that, the sale's done.
Yeah.
However, I have someone who's going to go on a journey. I have someone who's going to be like, I'm here. I'm going to be here for next year. I'm going to do this whole walk with you. I'm looking for that long term. It's almost like I'm looking for a team member, a tribe member, and I can't have a tribe member the same way I make a sale, because it's a deeper thing.
It's funny, right? Because it's one of the things, like I said, when you really get present to all the things that are happening, in the marketplace, one of the things that I looked at in my business was, oh my gosh, why does it feel like a revolving door?
Yeah.
Right. And I really got present to that. And I was just like, I don't want to work, that way. That work is too hard. It's not just hard. It's just too hard. And I didn't want to work that way, in my business. And so the question became, right? Like, how can I do it different, right? And so people show up. Like, we hear so many different conversations in the marketplace, and it's being aware of those conversations. And so and even if a conversation is a big conversation, it doesn't mean that that's the conversation that you should be having. So it's like to have the courage, to create your own conversation into the marketplace, right? And so I know one of the things that we looked at is what you just alluded to or talked about, is creating that journey. So when we, have clients, how are we journeying with them? Okay. And that fits like everything in me, like the way how I desire to do business, the way how you desire to do business and to grow, our business and to grow our clients' business. And it's absolutely beautiful work. And
It's
I'm going to
fun.
say fun and
Fun.
less stress.
and so fulfilling. And just to give
Yeah.
you a great example of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I just started working with a gentleman, and one of the interesting things is we talk about vulnerability, we talk
Mhm.
about transparency, we talk about authentic. What's fascinating for me is right now, 50% of my clients are men, and people are like, "But you talking vulnerability and letting the guard down and all this stuff." And I have these men that are coming and saying, "There's some work I know I need to do."
Yeah.
And it's that work that they know it's almost like people are saying, I know it's me that's in my way,
Yeah.
and I need to get out of my way.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is just to talk about how this works. So I have a gentleman who hired me about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and we started a conversation a month prior. And when he contacted me, I had no clue who he was. I had never met him before. What was interesting was he said to me, "You did an interview about a year and a half ago. I watched it because I'm the person who edits the interviews,
Yes.
the videos for the person who I was interviewed by." He said, "When I saw your interview, I had a feeling you were my coach." He said, "I have been following you for a year. I have never seen a comment from this person. I don't even know if he has a presence on social media. I don't know how like, I don't know." And so he has been following me for a year. What was striking to me was when we got on the phone, it was like he knew me and I understood him. And so the conversation happened, the discovery call, as you will, happened with such ease because my conversation in the marketplace, the stories I've told, the content I've put forward distinguished me and had him know that's the person. So yeah, he had to check it out to see if it was truth, but he came to the table thinking that's the person I'm supposed to work with.
Yeah.
And so, and the more we do this, the more I have that happening.
Yeah.
That's the person I'm supposed to work with. And so it that lives in how much of us are we willing to share in the marketplace, and us that's relevant to the entrepreneurial journey, us that's relevant to your growth as an entrepreneur, us that's relevant to your growth as a person. It's not everything, but there's a piece that's so relevant of who you be that is so part of our marketing that most people don't think is.
And that's, and you, I think what you're speaking to here in just that little speech, that little part, and I love what you shared with how he was able to watch the video, knew that you were his person, but you still had stuff there, on social for him to do his research, right? And say, hey, now I'm ready. And that's another thing that I picked up that you said it took a year, right? A year and a half. And he says, now I'm ready to move forward. But another thing that I hope the thought didn't escape me that I'm hearing you saying is when it comes to content, and we're talking about being authentic, and we're talking about being vulnerable. One of the things that, I pay attention to when it comes to social media, it's a way that you share your story, right? That allows you to show up as the guide. Okay. And attract, people to you. So, sometimes it almost feels like when you're on social media, people like just regurgitate like everything, right? And you really are sometimes kind of confused.
Yeah. So you're talking about the distinction between the rant and the story. And the rant is so I say the rant is the the spewing of a victim. I am the victim of a situation. I am pissed off. I'm angry, and I'm going to let everybody on social media know I've been wrong. And while that may feel good as the person doing it, who you're going to attract is the other people in the same rant that are like,
that are victims too, right?
And the cliche for that is misery loves company.
Yes,
they love your company. They're going to come party with you, and it's called a pity party. That's a rant. A story that is well constructed is a story of a situation happened. I felt like a victim. I had my own personal pity party. Then I decided enough is enough. And I took responsibility for what was going on in my situation. I didn't blame anybody. I didn't shame anybody. I said it was up to me. I stood up and decided to become the hero in my own circumstance. And as I became the hero, I can tell you all the lessons I've learned that I can now teach you. And as I've learned the lessons and mastered the lessons, I moved from being the hero to the guide. And now I can turn around and guide you through the journey from victim to hero that you need in order to get to where you want to go. I am no longer a victim. I am boldly and magnificently putting a message into the marketplace that I believe someone needs to hear, because I know there's people who are walking a very similar walk to me. And my purpose right now is to turn around and guide them through a difficult part, because I know that within them, there's brilliance. I know that within them, there's a uniqueness. And I know that the market is waiting for them to put a gift into the space. That's the structure of the story. And that's the process. And so it's very different than the rant, because when you step into guide, what you give up is the need to shame, blame, judge, and make your stuff someone else's responsibility. You sit in 100% responsibility for solutions to what comes your way. It's a different seat. And I believe that experts do the 10,000 hours of solution finding. They do the 10,000 hours of growth. They do the 10,000 hours of turnaround. They do the 10,000 hours of hard work. It isn't just the 10,000 hours of learning their craft. That's one 10,000 hours. It's like 10,000 here, 10,000 there, 10,000 over here. And then you're like, yeah, baby, I got this. And we all are required to go on this journey. I have met few people that have done that journey on their own.
You know, you're sharing something that's really so good. And so our topic today is why story is the secret sauce to your social media. And this is why story is so relevant, right? It's because how do we take all of the experiences that we have on this journey as entrepreneurs? So it's not just the good things, right? And I see that, like, people show up and they're like, woohoo, and I'm not taking anything, away from anybody's celebration. Like, when you are celebrating, I want you to celebrate to the fullest, knock it out the park, do all of that stuff. But when it comes to the hard things, the difficult things, the things that, make us stop, pause, cry, like you said, roll around, cry, get maybe one too many bottles of wine, right? Those are the things that, I've found more and more people want to know, like, how do you really do this thing called the entrepreneur life? And so that's what getting present to the story, has shown me. Like, there is a way that I could talk about the hard things, the challenging things, the things that keep me up at night, right? And then how did I move past those things? What did I learn? And not only does it play out in social media with your content, because there's definitely a way for us to use those experiences through story in our marketing and through our content to attract our divine people. But I find even when we're on conversations, like you said, the discovery call. Okay,
stories so useful.
And I'm going to tell you, there's nothing better than when you are on that call with someone and you're vulnerable enough, to say, hey, I know exactly what you're saying because I've been there.
Yeah.
Okay, you could almost, if you listen carefully, hear the changing of the breath,
Yeah.
in a person, and it's so relaxed. I got so present in this process to how much of a grind, my business was.
Mhm.
Right. And that's what they teach us. They teach us all the time that, everything has to be a grind, but it doesn't have to be, a grind. There's an easier way to do it. And how do you do it?
Mhm.
And it's using the number one connector, the universal connector. And that universal connector is story.
It's storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling.
You said something that I really want to highlight for everyone listening.
Mhm.
You said that, oftentimes people come to social media in celebration, in looking
Mhm.
good, in putting our best foot forward. What I want everyone to really consider is that we, as the reason we like stories is because we like heroes. We like people who are overcomers. We like people who are unstoppable. When I just put the positive into the marketplace, it doesn't create a gap. It doesn't create a journey.
Yeah.
When I put the celebration into the marketplace and say, but it wasn't always this way.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I didn't know how to do
right.
this. I remember when I put my first, product into the marketplace and no one showed up and it was a flop and I didn't know what to do. And I packed it in and then got the courage to go again.
Yeah.
When you start telling that journey,
Right.
you show the audience the distance you've traveled.
Yeah.
And now suddenly the celebration has way more meaning.
Yes.
Because oftentimes what we want people to think is I've always looked like this.
Yeah.
I've always showed up this way. I've always been this together. And people are like, well, that's not me. I don't look like that. I am not together. I am still overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. So I don't know you. And so if we want to be known and seen, we are required to put the journey in the marketplace because the journey is what creates the relatedness.
Yeah.
And so what story does brilliantly, and that's why we love movies. That's why we love fairy tales. That's why we love superhero books. That's why Marvel makes so much money. Disney makes so much money because as humans, we are storytellers naturally and we love story. So when someone comes to us with a story, we can't help but be curious and get connected.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to miss our comments.
And I think Charette had a question.
Okay, so out here, Charette says, let me make sure, let me go back up a minute. I missed the first one. Okay, so Charette is saying, okay, Suzanne, every time I get stuck, think about it as content. Then she says, well, I have a lot of content. But that piece was very helpful. Thank you. Yeah. And because here's the thing, right? Like we said, every time you get stuck, there's probably, well, not even probably, 100% of the time, there is something that you're supposed to learn, something that you need to overcome, get you to the next level. Mm-hmm. So as you go through the next level, like do the reframe. What did I learn here? And how can I turn around and use that thing, to bless others? How can I use that thing to bless my tribe, to help my clients? Okay. And those are the stories that we put into the marketplace as our content.
And that is really what social media is.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting when I said that I really didn't feel comfortable doing social media because it was sell the product, sell the product, sell the product, sell the product, or put a picture of you doing this, put your breakfast. It didn't make sense. However, when I started using story, what it felt like was I was giving relevant information to a journey that was needed by someone who I believe was going to be doing the same thing as me. And so even when we market a product, like we're going to share a free program that we're inviting people out to. Even as we do it, we're doing it through our own stories. We're doing it through where we think there's connection with the audience. We're doing it through where I think you guys are stuck, because I've been stuck there. We're doing it through the I don't know, because it's my I don't know. And so all we're doing is putting story into the marketplace and telling you why the story is relevant. And then it gives us an opportunity to invite you to see more content that is going to be about teaching you a piece of the journey. However, what attracts us to the journey is not the product. What attracts us to the journey is, that's me. I'm stuck right there. I'm not, my social media is not converting. I'm not comfortable in front of the room, da 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 da. And then they go, okay, well, I have a reason to show up now. Beautiful. It's fun. So much fun.
I love it.
I see we have Mr. D'Souza out here this morning.
Yes, great morning. Great morning, Cleve. Thank you. And then I see Candace Camille is out there with us this morning. Great morning, Candace. How are you, the wellologist? Make sure you drop your information into our comment section so we can connect with you. And then we have Adil Aleem. Adil is tuning in all the way from Pakistan. I know it's not morning for you, Adil, but whatever time of the day it is, welcome and thank you so much for tuning in to Social Media Saturdays. Make sure you put how we can connect with you as well. And then Jacqueline Turnbow. Hi, Jacqueline. How are you, darling? Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us this morning. And I see that Kalina, I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name there. Kalina Fitzpatrick is out there this morning, and she's saying, thanks for sharing your thoughts on storytelling. Yes, Kalina, this is one of the things, like I said, definitely has shifted the trajectory in my business. And I'm so happy to have, Susan Hart sitting down here with us to unpack, why storytelling or story is the power, the secret sauce to your social media. And I just wanted to say, like Susan just mentioned it, but we are like in the middle of our launch for our Magnetize and Monetize the Stage webinar. So if you have tuned in to us today and you are getting great value, like definitely you want to make sure that you register for the webinar, okay? And so I'm going to make sure that I put the link on the screen, and then the link is also in the description of the video. Okay, so if you look in the description of the video, you're going to see the link to join us on Monday, September 23rd, right? September 23rd, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Monetize and Magnetize the virtual stage. Now, why is this webinar, this training that we're doing important? This is so important because I started off at the top of the broadcast stating that the world has shifted over the past 2 years. Okay, so I don't know about any of you out there, like I'm not in a small pond anymore. Okay, so I've had the opportunity with all of the changes, to do more business globally, not just across the US, but globally. And what I've found is being able to show up different. Okay, so when I show up on platforms to speak or to network, I'm not the person out there just hawking my wares, right? I'm able to share the story of why I do what I do, right? Who I'm called to serve, and it's very clear, right? And then how I serve. And like I said, that's one of the things that have shifted, my business. So if you are out there and you desire, to have that, shift in your business as well, maybe you're asking yourself, well, what's my story? or what's the story that I need to tell, you definitely want to join us on our live training. So if you go to bit.ly, bit.ly, monetize the virtual stage, you can go ahead and secure your spot on the webinar. Okay. And so, Suzanne, before we wrap it up at the top of the hour, I'm just going to give you the opportunity to share a little bit about what we've created in Monetize and Magnetize, the virtual stage.
Well, we're really going to dive into why everybody needs a brand story and what is a brand story and why does it work? Why does it work in your marketing? And why does your business need to have a brand story? Every major business has a brand story. And so if you're a solopreneur, don't believe that you don't have a brand story. If you're a small business, you have a brand story. Now, what I want to make as a distinction is most people, when I watch people take the stage and they think they're going to tell their story, they tell the story of, their education. Let me tell you about my business. Let me tell you about how we're doing, the amount of sales we have, how successful we are. And I'm here to tell you that's not the story that the audience wants to hear. That's what the person who introduces you is supposed to do. Your story is a journey that builds your credibility with the audience. The story that you are called to tell from the stage, when you open an event, when you when you're doing your social media, is the story that, as I said earlier, that earns you the right to be the guide, the coach, the mentor, the person who is saying, you want to work with me, whatever title that is. The person who sells the app, the this, the that. That's what it is. It's that story. And I watch time and time again. And I know we have some of our students out there, some of our super achievers out there and superstars that are in the program. And they will tell you the story they thought they were supposed to tell and the story that they found when we did the work with them was two very different things. However, the story they found is a true story, authentic, vulnerable, powerful, moving story that will enroll the people that they are called to serve, their divine client. And truly, when we go into the marketplace, when we take the stage, we're not talking to everybody. We may be entertaining everybody, but we are actually there to talk to the people and to attract the people who are our divine client. And we show you how to do that, how to build it that way. This is an introductory, so you get an idea of the power of story. And most people walk away with tools, tips, and resources that they can put in place right away. And begin to sort of play with storytelling in their social media, in their businesses, in their sales process. So you definitely want to come out and get a sense of this.
Yes, awesome. So once again, Magnetize and Monetize, the virtual stage, kicks off on September 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you click on the link, reserve your spot on the training, because I guarantee you it's a game changer. And so with that being said, we are bringing another fantastic episode. I thought it was fantastic episode of Social Media Saturdays to a close. And so if you have not connected with us in the Serve, Share, Shine, the Givers community, you want to make sure that you do that. So this is the place where we continue to have conversations until we meet again live. Okay. So once again, it's the Serve, Share, Shine, the Givers community. Head on over to Facebook, knock on the door, and I'll definitely let you in. You could also stay connected with Social Media Saturdays and myself on Instagram. You could find me on Instagram as Taria Hodge. You could catch all of our past episodes on YouTube by searching Social Media Saturdays. And I am also on LinkedIn under my name, Taria Hodge, as well. And Suzanne, how can our superstars stay connected with you?
Absolutely. Well, you guys can find me, on all social media platforms at Suzanne Hart. Facebook, we have our community called Unstoppable Mindset for Super Achievers. These are those ride to dies, overachievers who love growth. And we have conversations about very much like what we're having now. A lot of it is on mindset in terms of how do we help you become unstoppable, reset your thinking, and get out of your own way. You can watch all the replays of Unstoppable Mindset on YouTube. We have them all locked and loaded there. So definitely go there. And you can find me as Suzanne Hart on LinkedIn, as well as on Instagram, and of course on Twitter. Right. So, and you can also find me through this beautiful lady right here. So you can hit us up in many, many ways, and I'd be happy to sit down and chat with anyone who saw value today and have some questions.
Okay. All right. So once again, superstars, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with us, and take care until we connect next time.